All right. Hello, Delta Kappa and Delta Kappa
Hello.
members. I'm here. My name is Rebecca Torres. I'm the president of the Pi chapter with Capella University. I'm here with Dr. Schooley and Dr. Robertson. We just have some questions and answers that we're going to go through today, and hopefully it'll answer some of your questions about Delta Kappa, and you'll get to know us and Dr. Robertson a little bit more. So we'll go ahead and get started. Are the two of you ready?
Sounds great.
All right, Dr. Robertson,
Hello.
What are your goals for Delta Kappa as the main president of the whole organization?
The goals for Delta Kappa are, largely it's one goal, and it's been the same goal, which is really the mission in some sense, but it's accessibility and making sure that there are options for all marriage and family therapy students, particularly those in accredited programs, to have access to recognizing their academic achievements. So given that this is the only official honor society for our profession, the main goal is to get this to every single chapter or to every single university and make sure they have a chapter. Because I get calls all the time and emails from students that say, oh, I'm a first year master's students in this university. How do I join? And I have to sadly tell them, oh, I'm sorry, your university, your program does not have a chapter, so there's not an option to join. So the biggest goal is getting a chapter in every single accredited program. So every single MFT student can be recognized for their academic achievements.
Do you know where we're at with that right now?
We have 26 chapters right now. We're about to install the 27th in April. And I really, honestly, at this present moment, I don't know what our total count is on accreditation programs. I don't know if Dr. Schooley, if you happen to know off the top of your head.
I would have to go look it up. I would just go to coamfd.netcom edu, whatever, and look at it. Sure. Mm-hmm. And this is good for programs that have only a doc program as well, or only masters.
No, for both. We've got universities who've chosen to have separate chapters for their master's students. They've actually, have chosen at times to have two chapters, and some have just integrated them for master's and doc students together. But yep, it can be for doc only programs as well.
All right. Sounds like we have our work cut out for us.
Well, that is part of the, thinking through what our goals have been. There is no doubt that the loss of the in-person conference every year has had an impact, and whether it's just COVID or COVID and we haven't had the conference, there's really not a whole lot of opportunities for me to get information about Delta Kappa in front of program directors. And so I will say that has slowed down the new chapter installations. And I'm confident, just like I'm a faculty member in a program, I'm confident that everybody's like, not even one more thing do I want to do right now. With all that we've been doing. So I do know COVID has had a bit of a slowdown effect on that, but we had been steadily doing 2 to 3 chapters, new chapters a year, the 3 to 5 years leading up to COVID. Slower now.
All right. Well, thank you for answering that question. My next question is along the same lines. Where do you see Delta Kappa in 5 years?
Hopefully out of this slowdown and increasing membership. I do want, and this is one of the reasons I'm so excited that you all have spearheaded this project, having more opportunities to connect students, to connect graduates across the country. There's not really a great venue for that. And these types of opportunities, and Delta Kappa can be a part of that. Wow. So I hope we're doing more of this. I hope we've got more involvement from chapters. That's really what I hope. Not only just more chapters, not for just any purpose, but more connection.
That's one of the purposes of establishing the President's Council. So far, we've had some successes Dr. School and I have seen many presidents and many advisors in our meetings over the last year.
In small groups, very small groups. Yes.
Wow.
So that's been exciting on our end, and we got the newsletter up and running. So this is just another thing that we have to share.
Love it.
And my next question aligns with one of our main focuses of leadership. So what inspired you, Dr. Robertson, to become the president of Delta Kappa Honor Society?
I wish it was an inspiration. I wish that I wish I had some great story about how I was motivated and saw a need. Actually, all of that came through the founder. So Dr. Charles Cole, who founded Delta Kappa, is the one who saw the initiative and had the motivation and, kind of set up this whole concept. How I came to be involved wasn't because I went to him and said, I would love to do this. Wouldn't have not, but actually what ended up happening is when I graduated with my doctorate in 2003 and went to Friends University, which is where I teach. That was my first teaching job. And that was the first opportunity that Dr. Cole saw where we could expand. So basically he came and said, hey, why don't we install a chapter at Friends University? And we ended up putting in 2 chapters because we have a campus in Wichita and a campus in Kansas City. And then from there, Dr. Cole was winding down his career. He was, he had been in our field for 3-4 decades. And he basically said, hey, you have a chapter, you're a chapter advisor, you were here when this all began, would you take it over? I had no idea what that meant, and I didn't know what that would even look like. And so that's really how I came to be in this position, is he asked as he was moving toward retirement, and I was incredibly honored to be able to do that. So that's really the backstory of how I became the sort of president or executive director or whatever this looks like, is because he was my major professor, my mentor, and I was happy to take it over as he retired.
Isn't that how it always goes, though?
It comes how it's supposed to, is what I think. Because I don't know that I really knew what saying yes meant, and that's okay. I think I would still say yes, but it's not the creative part is not my skill set. I can complete tasks and get really energized around making sure everything is how it should be, but creativity it's just not one of my gifts. And again, one of the reasons that I'm incredibly grateful to you all, because you're seeing a need and you're creating the opportunities, and that's just not my strong suit. I want to support it, and you give me a task and point me in that direction and I can do that. So I'm grateful for your creativity. I'm grateful for your vision.
Well, thank you, Dr. Robertson. Along that note, what does it take to be an effective leader of a large organization or a small organization, however you look at it?
Probably where I would make an inappropriate joke about alcohol, but I won't. It's coffee. In all seriousness, I really think good leadership is focus. A good leader has I think you have to want to do whatever it is you're doing. Otherwise, then it just becomes a chore. So seeing, having a passion for it, seeing the benefit of doing something. And I do think you have to have a fair amount of creativity, and I have just enough to get me by most days. And then for me, being surrounded by people smarter than me. I've basically said that as long as I can remember, is never be the smartest person in the room.
All right. Well, thank you for that wonderful wisdom. Always make sure not to be the smartest person in the room.
Don't be the smartest person in the room. Make sure you're surrounded by people smarter than you.
Right. And so besides enhancing leadership skills, how else does Delta Kappa contribute to the field of marriage and family therapy?
When you look at what our goals, really what is the purpose of Delta Kappa, it is, as you said, creating leadership for the next generation of MFTs. And that's certainly, kind of really goal number one. But Dr. Cole also outlined making sure that this organization pushes to stay at the forefront of research, cutting edge thought, and access, making that accessible. And most chapters, because of the way the system is set up, most of chapters do that at their local level, and creating, we've got chapters that have symposiums and, different types of opportunities. I would love for Delta Kappa to be doing that more globally, more cross chapter, creating not just the networking in the general sense we think of, but really making accessibility to research or ideas, that sort of thing. That's really what I hope we can contribute as well. I mean, this is the smartest people, the most qualified academically in our field. Let's be using all of that brain power in a way that pushes us forward.
I agree. Let's kind of shift gears a little bit away from Delta Kappa. What is one of your most valued accomplishments?
Personally. Ooh.
And you can't say your children. This is professional.
I know, right?
Professional.
It's professional. This is going to be a really strange way to answer that question, but it hits me, and as a good therapist, I'm going to go with what thought comes in my head. I could say my degree. I was the first person in my family to get a doctorate in my whole, that would be a great standard answer. But really, if I'm honest, I think the smartest thing I did professionally was something I didn't know that I was actually doing. I knew really early on, maybe before I even got to college, I was not well suited for one thing, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. I could tell you, I think my therapy work will tell me, I think it's because I saw my dad in the same job for 35 years. And yeah, he liked his job, but he didn't love his job. Or maybe it was my mom who, for education reasons, didn't have opportunities. So she did a variety of different, labor type jobs. And so I got to go along on some of those as a little kid. We got to go clean the local post office every Saturday after they closed, and she cleaned houses, and they would let us swim in the swimming pool at the house that we cleaned after she got done working. So probably somewhere in there, I just thought it was a whole lot more fun if I didn't have to be inside a building for 8 or 10 or 12-hour shifts. So I made decisions around that really early on to lead me in a path that would say, don't just do one thing, do a variety of things. And if there's one thing I could say my professional life looks like, it's definitely variety. So I, help with Delta Kappa, teach full-time at the university, have a practice, do supervision, but I also own some other businesses unrelated to the direct profession of marriage and family therapy. And all of those have brought me joy. And then my dachshunds are going to join the interview because they act like cats. So I don't know if that's a strange way to answer what I think my greatest accomplishment is to say from the very beginning, I did what I felt was going to fit me the best. And then I let pieces come to me, even if they were not things I was thinking of. I never thought I would own a business. And so I did it and followed it. And I think it's made me a good mom. So then we'll go back to the, kid part. It's made me a good mom. I think it makes me a good therapist. I think it makes me a good employer. I think it makes me a good supervisor and good instructor.
Good deal. So outside of the profession, what do you hope to give back to the community?
I don't know. I think even with the other things that I do are all in some way service oriented. So the things that have come my way that I've chosen to include in my life have always included some measure of helping. The businesses, the supervision, teaching, all of it is, I've done volunteer things, served on boards. They're about giving something other than, an MFT driven, content. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd have anything else I would add, but I think everything I do is in some way to give back.
It's a very good way to look at it. I think.
I think so.
So when you're not working, it sounds like you have a very busy schedule. What do you do outside of that very busy schedule?
Yeah, I do work. My husband makes jokes when his friends and colleagues or whatever ask, what does your wife do? And he says, work for my retirement. I work. I don't have a whole lot of downtime, and I don't feel cheated by that. It's not something that I feel is inappropriate. I get to spend time with my kids. I make my own schedule no matter what. And we travel when we can, not in a pandemic. And I obsess over and binge watch way too much Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime shows. I don't watch movies. I watch TV or shows like series, but I don't watch movies. So I love it. I'm a huge, huge baseball fan. I watch 162 games of baseball. I'm a Texas Rangers fan. I grew up in Texas. I don't miss baseball games. I've been absolutely known to schedule clients around day games and watch wherever I am. And we have a local double A team here in Wichita, and we have season tickets. So I love baseball.
All right. And this last question is specific for the Council of Presidents.
Okay.
It's not widely known outside of the presidency. So what are your goals and visions for the council and as the director of Delta Kappa?
So again, without the beautiful creativity that I am confident you guys have far more of than I do, for me, I think the Council of Presidents is the opening to having essentially board leadership and potentially national committees that have tasks. There's just no way that, number one, I was never really made for that type of creative leadership. And with all of the different things, I don't have the time. So I do think the Council of Presidents becomes, even for active students, great way to drive the kind of activities that we would typically see with people who serve on boards in nonprofits, because that's what this is, and be able to organize that more fully over the course. Maybe this is again another goal over the course of the next 5 years or so. How do we solidify involvement that looks like true nonprofit board leadership in all the ways that that makes sense? We've grown to the point now where that's absolutely, I mean, we could have done a long time ago but we've grown to the point where I think it becomes necessary to stay really well organized, to figure out how to best use our resources financially and people. There's a lot of opportunity, and I think the council could be spearheading that. That is my genuine prayer. I don't want to be standing in the way of that, and I also know that I cannot lead that. So I want to provide the support needed in whatever way that looks.
Oh, well, as we figure out how that looks, we'll definitely take any of the support that we can get, right?
Good.
So this next, I guess, round is our lightning round, and it's going to be a little bit faster. So just whatever answer comes to the top of your head. Okay, I'm ready. What temperature do you like your thermostat at?
71 degrees.
If you were given the opportunity to fly into space, given today's technology, would you take it?
Terrifies me. Absolutely not of interest. I can't do it. My husband might divorce me though if I had the chance and said no, because he loves it, but whatever.
Dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Dark.
How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
Too many.
Paper or plastic?
Oh, I'm a plastic. Ugh.
Name one of the 7 dwarfs.
Sleepy.
Name a primate besides monkeys and apes.
Gorillas.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Dawn or dusk?
Dusk.
What's your favorite holiday?
Oh, wow. All the ones. Thanksgiving.
What's your favorite day of the week?
Monday.
What's your favorite city in the US besides the one that you live in?
Nashville.
And last, what does the acronym SCUBA stand for?
I don't know, something underwater breathing apparatus.
Yes,
And I
self-contained
don't know the
underwater,
S.
self-contained
Ah,
underwater breathing apparatus.
I
And
don't
that
see
is it for our interview. Thank you so much, Dr. Schooley and Dr. Robertson, for being here with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
You're welcome. Until next time.